Hello and welcome back to Echo Night, the Lord of Nightmares. Last time we had a lot of excitement. We explored the Tower of Grief and we had quite a lot of monologuing from Albert Clancy, who told us just about everything that was happening at this point. We were captured, but we escaped, and in that escape, the henchman, George, found his ignoble end. Apparently, he didn't think very far ahead, and didn't realize that the momentum of breaking open this here door would send him flying over this here ridge. In any case, we still have to get out of here. So let's head out. It's kind of terrifying, actually. You do have control over what's going on here. And basically, you want to keep yourself to the left. You definitely want to avoid that. So this is our game over. This is your died. Anyway, let's try that again. So you have to use the strafe buttons to move the door. You don't really want to use the sticks for this. And in fact, it doesn't really work. The stalagmites are always in the same place. say goodbye to that door. And now we're in a mysterious place. An underground prison. The back of this chair is especially tall. It's a small wooden box for an accessory case. There's a jewel placed above the brass frame. Over here we have a candlestick holder and a hammer, which we can take.
まだ生きてるなんてちょっと驚いたわ。アルバートも今さら何をためらっているのか。もう何人も殺したくせに。あなたは何を犠牲にするの？自分の愛する者のために何を犠牲にできる？アルバートは全てだと答えたわ。だから彼にあの石の本当の力を教えた。あなたは違うみたいね。もうあまり時間はない。さあ、どちらが勝つのかしら。
But she leaves a book. Intentionally. And, let's take a look at this book right now. Chapter 6. Traditions and Faith. In ancient times, men knew more about the nature of human life than we do these days. Unfortunately, they have thoroughly documented many of their most fascinating discoveries. They firmly believed in the existence of a soul stone that held the proven power of eternal life within it, or so they claimed. The soul stone appeared frequently in the written traditions of these ancient people, but I have found one element particularly interesting. They wrote of one member of their clan who was able to achieve immortality in one instance. This person wasn't anyone extraordinary, but was granted great power by the stone, never growing old, never becoming sick, and any wounds they suffered would be healed instantaneously, from what I've gathered. Still, in order to achieve immortality, one half of their soul had to be sacrificed. According to the legend, that half now slumbers deep below the tower. And if we put two and two together, the red-haired woman is the twin of the woman entombed at the bottom of the Tower of Grief. And since we have our stuff again, let's be sure to put our stuff back on. And let's see what else awaits us here in the Clancy Mansion. A sliding door. And a light switch. Is there anything here? No. And we've popped out here in the central chamber through this here false fireplace. And I don't think we have anything new for the little girl, but there is something new for us. We'll take that. And I think it's a straight upgrade from the red bracelet, so we'll throw that on. And we will save. I don't know about you, but I don't really want to do Clancy's wild water ride once more. Over here, guess what we find is Brian's ghost has not passed on. So now, as players, we have the full life cycle of the ghosts created by the Soul Stone, or by PK ghosts created by the Soul Stone. Their very last thoughts is basically what traps them. I know T3 on the last episode mentioned that we are kind of the opposite of what Dark Souls does with curses, and in curses you just kind of shell game the curse across people. You don't really ever get rid of it in Dark Souls. But in Echo Knight, we kind of eliminate them, those grudges. And the quote grudges that we're dealing with in Echo Knight aren't like Kayako kind of Juan kind of grudge. They are more like the very last moment, the very last desperate plea that they held so dear, keeping them into these lives. So now that we've met the ghost, we can take the other distribution board key, and in fact we'll need 2 of them, but this will be a little bit later. We should be fine through here. So we're going to head back out, and we're going to check in on the fisherman. There are quite a few ghosts in this game that have kind of gotcha moments. They are essentially time-based, but like if you forget to go back, because you're finished with that area, if you forget to go back, you're out of ghost, and it robs you of an ending or 2. So you have to remember these gotcha ghosts who you have to come back for. And this is one. So we're going to go check in on the fisherman. And when we come back, we see that he is no longer fishing. He's got a fish in his hand. It's quite a big one.
ほれ見てみ、大物じゃぞ。あの男の驚く顔が目に浮かぶわ。
So now that we're done there, now we can get back on the critical path. So remember this bit of art, and it depicts goddesses and a bell. And what do you do with a bell? You ring them. So
はあ、もう朝か。どうやら夜を無事に過ごせたな。ヘレン様はご無事だっただろうか。
So now that he believes it's morning, he has let go of this door. And this opens up a whole new section of the Clancy mansion. There's actually a very dangerous ghost in this section of the Clancy mansion. So we can't really dilly-dally. Nope, wrong place. So now that we've brought light to this section of the Clancy mansion, then we can move forward. The ghost that I mentioned is extremely dangerous. She is essentially invisible except for the bell ringing. She's essentially the bell ringing woman in Bloodborne, actually. But she has a different backstory. The only thing you'll hear is the bell, and as she gets closer, the bell ringing gets more fervent, and then she whacks you. We'll find out more about her very soon, but for now, let's give it a quick save. And let's explore this more servant-oriented area of the Clancy Mansion. Very Downton Abbey. The shelf is for tableware. Some plates have been stacked up here. These are frying pans and saucepans. It's a white porcelain plate. Over here is a candlestick holder. Small circular table and a stove. Up there is a box of matches, but that's not active quite yet. So now that we have some light, let's take a look at some of these doors. One thing to note is around here there's a lot of broken glass, so be sure to have the safety boots so that you don't take damage from it.
Yoshi, yoshi. もう泣かないで。なんだ赤ん坊ってのはこんなに泣くのかね。いつも音楽を聴かせてやれば泣き止むんだけど、誰か何でもいいから曲を聴かせてやっておくれよ。うるさくてかなわない。誰か何でもいいから曲を聴かせてやっておくれよ。うるさくてかなわない。
And if you can see from over here, there is a dried herb, but the nurse is blocking the way. A painting's been hung here. Over here we have more employees' sleeping quarters. And a painting that keeps moving. We'll talk to him soon, but let's take a quick look around. So this is a wardrobe. Basically, the most ultimate of walk-in closets. And we can see hangers and clothes and gowns behind it. Over here, we'll see a horse statue. And there's a round hole in its forehead. It's actually a unicorn. So one of our objectives is to find what goes in that horse's forehead. And that should open up that way. But for now, we should explore what's under the bed. Figuratively, anyway. So under here, some boxes, hope chests, storage chests. But over here, buried in the corner, is a broken violin. And now, if we were paying attention to the nursemaid, the baby really needs a lullaby to be put to bed. And since we can't sing, maybe somebody else can make some music. But, I hear you saying, the violin is broken. And yes, that's true. But since Richard Osmond can sidestep back in time, then it shouldn't be a problem for him. There's one door we haven't looked at, so let's take a look. And so we found ourselves the shower room. And water closets. Over here there's a dried herb. We'll take that. We'll play with the valve. For good luck, anyway. It's a toilet. There's very much nothing to be said around here. For as many bathrooms that they put into these, to the Orpheus and the Clancy Mansion, you'd think they'd have something hiding in those water closets. So let's talk to this guy now.
ここの留め金はもう使えんな。私もそろそろ引退か。もう50年も経つ。この館に来る前、音楽が私のすべてだった。あの頃。不思議なものだ。この頃は妙にはっきりと昔を思い出す。そうだ、あのバイオリンは。今の私に直せるはずもないか。もう一度あのバイオリンを。 しかしあのお方はいつ見ても昔のまま。20年前に私がこの館に来た時から少しも変わらずに、まるであのお方の周りだけ時間が止まっているかのようだ。
Gee, I wonder who he's talking about. And we should recognize this room. It was one of the rooms we saw in the beginning of the game.
おや、君は？ああ、エドガー様が話していた新しい使用人というのは君のことか。こんなところで油を売ってないで、早く仕事に戻りたまえ。
Sure, but...
これは私がこの館にお仕えするときに持ってきたバイオリン。これは私が修理して元のところに戻しておく。君は仕事に戻りたまえ。
Well, and so we've fixed the violin. Although we won't see it again for another, well, few years. Or seconds, depending. But there is one other thing in this world of the past that we should take a look at. The red-haired woman is here, but she's asleep rather than taunting poor old Richard.
Nessa. 少し眠ってたみたいね。あなたはこの館の人じゃないわね。あなたの目、姉さんとは違う。何も失いはしない。行きなさい。あなたならきっと望みを叶えられる。
So in a way, she's always known about Richard. I'll let people try to suss out that bootstrap paradox. So, because time has essentially reset for the violin is back to where it belongs. Or back to where it was. So let's go grab it. And at this point, it was repaired and did end up where it was destined to end up, but this time repaired. And this should allow a certain ghost or certain ghosts to both play and hear music.
これは私の何もかもあの頃のまま。
And him allowed to have music in his life one more time, he passes on. And since he is right next door to the nursery, the baby must have heard the music too. You can reason.
はあ、やっと泣き止んだ。それにしても綺麗なバイオリンだったね。おっと、まだ仕事が残ってるんだったよ。
And the baby departs as well. And she departs, leaving us with our reward of a dried herb. Let's give it a quick save before we see what she's doing.
ストーブがついてないね。はあ、パティがいないから仕事が増えたね。突然やめちまって今頃どうしてるんだか。母親が死んでから身寄りはないって言ってたのに。さてと、あとはヘレン様のお休みのお世話だけ。9時までどのくらいだろうね。
And so now we can take these this chocolate bar looking thing. It's actually brisket charcoal. And brisket charcoal does come like this in Asia. I think in Korea they're actually like circular things. But we'll need that for a puzzle later. But for now, let's keep exploring. When you're coming through this hallway the first time, it's actually nerve-wracking because you do hear the poltergeist right behind you. And once again, there are a lot of different broken pieces of glass here and there. So always remember to keep your boots on. I have to reset the room because I can hear the poltergeist. And I don't want to chance it in this small space. We'll take this your candle. And we'll take a look at these paintings. A painting of Twilight. There's a door there. So we've reached the atelier. If you don't know what an atelier is, it's just a small little study for people who make things. Easel used to hold up a canvas. We have busts, statues. And in here, another statue made out of plaster. So we've seen this kind of puzzle before. In the first Echo Night. In fact, shouldn't I just do it this way? No. Oh, wait. It's an expendable table, which means we can grab the step stool and move it about here. That should allow us to climb up and into the ducts. So let's see where this leads us to. Wire mesh. Doesn't seem like I can open that. This is the second duct, which allows us back into the atelier, but on the other side. So let's follow this path we've opened. Turn on the light, and we find a trophy room. Can't open these dressers, but we do find a painter. Let's take a look around first. Stuffed Thompson's gazelle. Stuffed moose. And a bighorn sheep. Let's see what this guy's doing.
なんだ君は。どこから入ってきた。ドアには鍵をかけておいたのに。そうだ、それどころじゃない。ヘレン様がお休みになられる前に完成させる約束だ。もうすぐ9時になってしまう。あとはここの炎の部分だけなんだ。炎、何か燃えるもの。
To finish his painting, he must see flame. You guys can't see my face at that, but in any case, we do have something to start the flame with, so we can chuck a little bit of charcoal. And light the flame.
おお、それだ。それが炎の輝きだ。
And we didn't even have to fight Father Ariandel for that.
よし、できたぞ。なんとか間に合った。
So now that his painting is done, he is able to pass on. And also, we don't need doors when we're Richard freaking Osmond. But he also leaves a pocket watch, and we'll be taking that. And let's just admire the bonfire for a moment. Looks like there's a person there. In any case, let's move on. So since our young painter friend mentioned Helen, and she mentioned she needs to know when 9 o'clock is, you know, just the thing for her. If we could ever pick the right door.
「おや、もう9時じゃないか。ヘレン様がお待ちだ。
So Helen unlocks the door, and we're able to follow her in.
それではヘレン様、おやすみなさいませ。明日の朝もいつものように起こしに参ります。
Now that Helen is allowed to take a break, she passes on with her duties done. When she leaves, she drops a horn, and we should know exactly where to put that. And her astral piece. There's a few paintings here, a little bit cross-hatching. But let us acquaint ourselves with Helen. Staring at a flower pot.
まだなの？どうしたの？きれいな花を咲かせておくれ。
It's stuck in time like so many people here. It's a good bit of symbolism.
なぜ咲いてくれない？何が足りないの？今年もきれいな花を咲かせたわ。アルバートも喜ぶわね。あら、もう肥料が切れたみたいね。後で庭園に取りに行かなくては。あら、大変。アルバートが泣いているわ。はいはい、おばあさまが今行きますよ。
She leaves with her prized crocus, but she also leaves a burlap sack. We'll be taking that. And we'll return to Helen later on. For now, let us return the horse head Oh wait, that was in the wardrobe. That unlocks that door. But, we'll need to save and do one of the more hair-raising bits of this game. And it is one of our longer walks without any light. First thing we're going to do is we're going to save, because save early and save often. And then you cannot dilly-dally at all. This board needs 2. Very hair-raising because she was basically right behind me. So let's take a look at what we have now. We have this puzzle. An open eye means it's locked. So our objective there is to make it closed. This is the entrance hall. And this is the door. These are doors we have not gone through. Let's take a look at this door real quick. Mask room, we'll see that later. This is the dance hall. We'll meet these jilted people not partying in a little bit. This gives us the other side of the entrance hall. Brian is still doing his absolute level best. And then we have this door. Which has a radio, which has been creepy ever since, and a save point. Next time on Echo Night 2, we'll continue exploring this half of the Clancy Mansion. There's still a couple of missing children that we'll be finding in the next episode or 2. And we'll finally, or hopefully we'll start figuring out exactly what is that menacing bell noise that is behind us. From Software and Bells, I'm telling you. You don't, like, that poltergeist is probably the most difficult in the game because she is invisible until she's right on top of you. And all you hear is a bell. And it's actually probably the most frightening of the poltergeist bosses in this game. There's only a couple of places where she is a legitimate threat because there is no power to those rooms, but hopefully we'll be able to make it through. So next time on Echo Night, we'll continue to run up the electricity bill for Albert Clancy, and we'll continue unraveling the mystery and sussing out the truth from the fiction and the supernatural from the natural. Until then, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time on Echo Night 2, Nemuri no Shihaisha. Bye, everybody.